Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sharmit podcast. Today I'm joined by another special guest, Sarah Julia Kriesch, who is joining us all the way from Germany. Sarah is an IBM champion, an active open source contributor, and a passionate Linux advocate with deep experience across DevOps, automation, cloud computing, big data, and mainframes. So today in this episode, we will talk about how she discovered open source, her work with OpenSUSE community, the real role of mainframes in the modern enterprise. But before we proceed further with all of this, I would like to thank Sarah for joining us today in this episode. And now I request you to please initiate the discussion by telling us a bit about yourself.
Yes, hello. I am Sarah, and thank you that I'm allowed to join you. I'm working for Kyndryl as a senior lead mainframe architect and open source evangelist, and I'm trying to achieve the best for the open source community with the Open Mainframe project and the Linux distribution working group, the same as with OpenSUSE, and my responsibility there.
All right. Okay. So, as we can see, Sarah, like you started your career as a Linux system administrator and DevOps engineer before pursuing the business informatics. So, what initially sparked your passion for Linux and open source? Like, how you decided that yes, this is the domain where you want to contribute?
But I started with my pre-education as a computer science expert for system integration, where you can learn system administration, network administration, and more in a company. And that was a small company without a lot budget for operating system and learning equipment. Therefore, Linux was the best choice and was available for learning. And I was so surprised about this opportunity to use free and open source software and thought I want to know more about it, and joined the OpenSUSE conference during my education, received a mentor, and grew with it. And with that, I have started within the Linux and open source community.
Okay. So in let's say in year 2026, if someone wants to start the career again with the open source and the Linux thing, so would you recommend to go with this technology or you would suggest anything else?
I really highly recommend it because that's the most used software stack in the world, and most is based on open source and Linux technologies, and therefore the new people should learn it.
Correct. Yes. And Sarah, like we know that you have worked across monitoring, automation, big data, cloud computing, and mainframes also. So, what do you think? Like, what has been the most transformative learning from these multidisciplinary paths? Like, you have witnessed or explored almost all domains. So, what do you think? Like, what are the most transformative learning for you throughout this journey?
In my case, I learned one step after the next one, from x86 to cloud computing and then mainframe. But the most transformative learning was bringing cloud computing and mainframes together. My latest manager is calling the mainframe also as the first private cloud forever. That has got the reason that it can be secure with post-quantum cryptography today. You can run cloud native applications on it. And if you integrate AI and optimizations, you have got the feeling that would be a second public cloud in your own data center. And public cloud providers don't do it on a different way. They provide the hardware the customers want to have. That can be also S390X in the future, perhaps. And then you can run all the different services on it. And therefore, this thinking was really transformative.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is what like you have learned throughout your journey. And how do you see the future of mainframe when we are talking about AI? Because nowadays everyone is talking about AI, artificial intelligence. So how do you see AI impacting the mainframe in the upcoming years?
At the moment, it cannot affect it a lot because it is required to use commercial software for
Hmm.
it. You cannot use the upstream Python modules like TensorFlow, ONCs, and PyTorch. You need IBM customized containers with IBM-owned software within it. The single open source software which is available is within OpenShift AI.
Yes.
And that has to be changed, that you can adapt it all related to open source requirements and the general community use cases. And yes, open source software is more adaptable and customization than other commercial software.
Correct. Okay, so moving ahead, Sarah, we will talk about one of your favorite community, that is OpenSUSE community, because you are an active in this particular community across release engineering, translation, and advocacy, and even for the infrastructure. So, what keeps you so deeply connected to this particular community, that is OpenSUSE?
I have been growing within this community from non-technical contributions to technical contributions with responsibility. And yes, the main factor is all the friends within the community you can meet every year at conferences. I was also a board member, and with that, I received the responsibility for the S390 export. And from this point of view, I can be in touch with the community the same as to outside to other Linux distributions. And this community feeling with so many friends makes it so valuable that I stay within it and want to improve it.
Okay. So do you still believe that community involvement is very important, especially when you are working with the IT industry? Because nowadays, like students are more focused on the technical knowledge. But what I believe, like community involvement is also as mandatory as learning the concept, because that is the only way through which we can communicate with each other and we learn how team is building the projects and developing the things. So what is your opinion on community building?
I can say I had also a professor during my studies who
Mhm.
said, join the community and learn from it. You can learn more from the community within a company or at the university, because it is so big and the knowledge comes together from all sides with reviewing and everything else within it, what is not possible only in a company. And therefore, this community is really important, and also related to careers. It is better to have a big network instead
Correct.
of a small network for growing.
Exactly. Like I'm also agree with this, because that is the only way through which we can work with the like-minded people and try to implement the solution together.
And on this way, we became also IBM champions.
Yes, that is also a great perk, like if you're working with a team. All right. So, next question regarding the same community, because what you feel like, because you have been working with this community for a very long time. So, what is one Suzy project or community effort you are most proud of to contribute? Like, I'm sure like you have contributed in different roles, but one thing that is really close to your heart.
Really close to my heart is the Linux distribution working group I created together with the other Linux distributions in the Open Mainframe project, because on this way we can show all the others, inclusive IBM, that we are collaborating on the community level and that we are friends and no competitors.
Correct. Okay. All right. So moving ahead, let's talk about mainframe, because still there are so many developers who believe that they are a legacy platform, which is there is no scope of the mainframe in the future. But as an expert, as an IBM champion, I want to ask you, like mainframes are, we know that it often see as a old technology, yet they are powering the modern enterprises. So how do you explain the importance of mainframe to newcomer or the students when you are delivering the sessions?
Yes, I explain it that financial services and other services with confidential data won't leave the mainframe in the next 30 years. And
Mhm.
yes, if you are in such a newcomer role, you have got the feeling in the first step, oh, a new technology, I don't know that all. And that's the case close to everywhere. Therefore, there's a good chance to grow within this area. And I have to say, Linux is Linux. You can learn it. You can use it equally to every other platform, also the Kubernetes platforms. And on this way, the learning curve is really fast there. And you can have fun also with the new technologies and learning the foundations of the platform with that.
Okay, we talked about the importance, so I think you are the right person to talk about the misconceptions also about the mainframe or maybe the enterprise Linux. So, like there are any particular thing that you would wish to that more people understand about the mainframes or enterprise Linux? So, what are those common thing that you find?
There are people who know the old mainframe world and the cloud world, but there is a misunderstanding that you can watch C Linux with Kubernetes as an interface between both worlds. So on this way, if you are using Kubernetes between and connect with COS world as an interface that you can transfer old platforms to a modern world, and that you can use as in a connection to hybrid cloud environments. That's not seen until now so much, but that's possible, and that's the way how it should be used in the future.
Okay. And another thing I want to ask on the behalf of those students like who wanted to learn about mainframe and Linux. So do you recommend do you think that there are any particular website portals that they can refer to learn about mainframes or the Linux system?
Yes, there is a good Git book by the Open Mainframe project from the Open Education team.
Okay.
Therefore, you can receive all the knowledge in one book, and all the knowledge will be collected there. And then I have to recommend also our open source C systems wiki, where I'm collecting all the information related to Linux technologies from the different interfaces of the mainframe until assembler programming, with books from the Marist College with training stuff and everything else. Therefore, if you need some support related to Linux on C and how to contribute, you find all the learning stuff there.
Okay. Yeah, I think these are some of the great recommendation from your end. I'm sure like those who are interested into learning the mainframe and the Linux, they can simply go through this technology and these websites.
Yes,
Okay.
and of course, also your COBOL training courses on YouTube are also really well.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So, Sarah, like before we talk about another expertise of your that is automation, I just want to know about your journey with as an IBM champion because we all know that you have been rewarded multiple time with this award. So, what do you think? Like, how it has impacted your journey, and how was your overall experience as an IBM champion?
Yes, I have started my DevOps engineer career after my bachelor thesis about Kubernetes on the mainframe, and DevOps is automation. Therefore, I have created CI/CD pipelines for Kubernetes stuff for the banking industry and everything else, based on YAML files and Terraform. And now IBM has bought HashiCorp and is including Terraform and Ansible together for IBM C and Linux One, that you can set up automated VMs with Terraform and deploy applications with Ansible on top. It is ongoing, and I like it because if we are watching to the cloud area in parallel,
Mm-hmm.
AWS, as an example, is so far that you can automate it with monitoring included, whether you want to remove or set up new VMs which are required for scalability. And if we can have that in the future also for the mainframe, that would be really great.
It's a great future, yeah. And coming back to that thing, like, how was your experience as an IBM champion? Like, you have been rewarded with this title, so like, how you think like it has impacted your journey?
Yes, I have received many mentors where I was nominated at the IBM C Day because of my open source contributions. And most IBM champions have got a really open mindset. Jean-Georges Perrin and Jan Willem Steur have been my first mentors related to that with an open source mindset. When Carl Eric Stanford gave me learning content about assembler and what exists there, the same as Geoffrey Decker and the mainframe IBM community here and the IBM Champion community have contributed so much to my learning journey that I became more professional and have received my own career. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now let's take one more question related to good automation, because this term is very popular in the industry that you should work with a good automation. So from your perspective, what does good automation look like, especially when we are dealing with a large scale Linux or mainframe environments?
Yes, if you want to have a large scale environment, you should be able to automate most. You
Mhm.
need the required monitoring for that. Today, there is also event-driven Ansible available for that, that you can maintain it automatically if any errors or something like that would happen. And if you scale it with automated setups and with containers, you can identify how much requests are coming in today. And based on that, you can scale also the containers on the amount of instances, how often you need this application.
Okay. All right. So moving ahead, we will talk bit about your experience with the workshops, because you teach a Linux workshop for students. So what you believe, like, what are the skills do you think that every aspiring Linux or open source professional should focus on in their initial days?
In the first days, from my point of view, you should learn to use the command line. School leavers are coming into the studies with Windows experience and clicking around. And the most important thing is learning Bash as a foundation, and that you are not worried about using the command line.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Linux Professional Institute is providing a small subset of courses called Linux Essentials. And
Okay.
that's what I have been teaching also our students with the Linux, with the open source working group during my bachelor studies. And I received also an API recognition for that. Therefore, that's something what I can recommend every university, and it is also really distributed in Germany already.
Okay. I think you also gave the inspiration to the other folks that yes, why do you should go ahead and learn this technology to achieve these kind of awards and
Exactly.
recognition.
I integrate a little bit stories, how I use it for backups and how to automate that, how to
Yeah.
create container images and everything else. Therefore, that's all included. But firstly, you need the basics about using
Correct.
the command line, when you can go deeper with different modules, how to use it in a professional manner.
Correct. Okay, so we talked about your journey, we talked about your contribution and your role as a mentor also. But what I believe, like, everyone needs a mentor in their life, or to learn or to be a person, good person, right? So looking back on your own journey, who are the key people or influences that shape the way you think, work, or lead today?
I had different mentors, and most of them I received during my study time, especially as I grew into the role as a board member in my second semester, which is really early, I have to say. And
Mhm.
where the program director from SUSE, Anja Stock, has raised her hand to support me on my way as a female role model. And she has supported me with setting up also the Linux distribution working group and setting my goals there. She had equal experiences with United Linux in the past and has supported me on this way. In parallel, I have met Roland Huss from Red Hat. He is a distinguished engineer for Kubernetes now, and together with AI, and he is supporting me until today related to Kubernetes topics, and he is also a book author about it. Then from IBM side, I have got Ulrich Weigand, the distinguished engineer for Linux and open source software on IBM C. If I need something, he is open to support me here. And without him, I wouldn't have been grown into my leadership role at the Open Mainframe project regarding the Linux distribution working group. Then Ino Krumreich, the former project manager from SUSE for S390X, he has joined my OpenSUSE C Systems team and is supporting me with all feedback and introductions how he would interact for Linux distributions with enterprise requirements to IBM in my case. So I have received the best recommendations how to argue in front of IBM for all Linux distributions. Then my cloud knowledge is based on the knowledge of our AWS meetup group and the global solution architect Niels Heuer, who is switching between AWS and Google continuously, and therefore he has got also the knowledge about multi-cloud environments and how to combine it in hybrid cloud environments. So I received also the best knowledge about cloud technologies and how to use it in a best way. And during my time at Accenture as a consultant, I had two senior managers as mentors who have helped me on my way. Francesco Esparaglia from the DevOps department and Bastian Meyerfeld from the IT/OT department. And they gave me the best learning material and recommendations what I should use and learn and integrate into customer environments that I can grow also in the consulting area.
Okay. All right. So, Sarah, like we have so many things that we can discuss here because we are working with great community like IBM Champion and many others. But we are short on time, so I just want to take one last question, and that question is related to Germany because you are a proud citizen of Germany. So, if you could share one thing about Germany with the rest of the world, something that you feel people should really know or appreciate about it, then what it would be?
Yes, I have to say that education is for free in Germany.
Mhm.
That's a really benefit in comparison to other countries. You can learn in companies with pre-educations, what I have said, or which are already known as associate degrees, and you can earn money for learning there. And for studies, the state is paying your studies, and you have to will pay only a small amount of money per semester, which is half a year, around 100 euros only. And yes, you can study also via distance learning in Germany and write your exams outside of Germany.
It's good to know like how this Germany government is helping students by providing these kind of incentives and internship kind of work. So that's a really great to know about it. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us today in this episode and for sharing so much information with the folks. I'm sure, like those who are listening to this podcast, they will resonate so many things with, particularly with Linux and mainframe. So thank you once again for being a part of the show.
Thank you also.
Thank you.